Great, thanks, Owen. Good evening and welcome to the December meeting of the Northbrook Conservation Commission. My name is Greg Young. I'm the chair of the commission. This open meeting of the Northbrook Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Healy's executive order of March 29th, 2023, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency. All members of the Northbrook Conservation Commission are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows the Northbrook Conservation Commission to meet entirely remotely, so long as reasonable public access is afforded, so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Dan Clark.
Here.
Justin Dufresne.
Here.
Diane Gouldner.
Here.
Todd Helwig.
Here.
Very good. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Vincent Vignali.
Yes.
Owen Jones.
Here.
Excellent. Some ground rules. For presenters and or applicants listed on the agenda, the chair will invite each speaker or applicant on the agenda by name to make a presentation and speak to their application. Participants will provide their full name and hold until their name is called. Each speaker will be asked to mute their phone or computer when not speaking and to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate meeting minutes. Those responding will be asked to wait until the floor is yielded to them by the chair. Speakers who wish to respond to the comments of others do so through the chair, taking care to identify themselves. Each vote taken by the commission will be conducted by a roll call vote. After members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment as follows. By phone, dial *9 to raise your hand and wait to be recognized. Please note that part of your phone number will be visible to those viewing the meeting. By Zoom, click raise hand on the bottom of your screen and wait to be recognized. The chair will ask members of the public who wish to speak to identify the names and addresses only. Once the chair has a list of all public commentators, the chair will call each by name and afford 3 minutes for any comments. A reminder that this meeting is being recorded and will be available for viewing via the Northborough Remote Meeting website tab on the town's website. Very good. Okay. Meeting minutes from November. Any questions or comments on those?
No.
Everybody's good? Nothing noted. All right, let's take a vote. Need a motion.
Move to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Diane. Dan Clark.
Yes.
Justin Dufresne.
Yes.
Diane Gouldner.
Yes.
Todd Helwig.
Yes.
And I vote yes. And Vinny, please pass along. Those are still pretty darn good meeting minutes that we're getting these days. So
Thank you. I will let her know.
okay. Public hearings. We have continuations here. 311 Crawford Street. What's the latest on that?
311 Crawford Street, I received a request for continuance to the next meeting. They're working on the final adjustments.
Okay. When did we open that? May?
May, I think it was.
Okay.
I just gave them comments in November. They did submit additional information, preliminary sketches, so I made comments to that, and we're trying to work through whether the details can get worked out or how the details will get worked out.
Okay. Very good. Motion to continue.
So moved.
Crawford Street. Made by Diane. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Justin. Roll call. Dan Clark.
Yes.
Justin Dufresne.
Yes.
Diane Gouldner.
Yes.
Todd Helwig.
I was muted. Yes.
And I vote yes. Very good.
And we're sure we're going to have a quorum for January 8th. People don't have vacation time coming.
Does anybody know that they're not going to be here?
No.
Here we go.
Good. Okay.
15 Prospect Street. This was, we're waiting to get some additional information
Yes, I got another request for continuance there. They had to revise the septic design and are adjusting the building plan so that they're going to stay, or they think they're going to be close, if not outside the 35-foot no build. So they're going to be presenting more information shortly.
Yeah, that's the one that was down right near the end of with the wetlands. We looked at
Yes,
it.
yeah, they were
Yes.
going to have to do some wetland replication and
Yeah.
alterations, but we just wanted, it'd be best to stay out of the zones if possible.
Okay. Okay, motion to continue 15 Prospect Street to January.
So moved.
There's a
Second.
Seconded by Diane. Dan Clark,
Yes.
Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Diane Gouldner,
Yes.
Todd Helwig,
Yes.
and I vote yes. The NOI and stormwater management land disturbance permit for the town dog park. I did see a full request to continue that.
Yes, that is
January.
correct.
Okay. Do we have a DEP number for that one yet, Vinny?
Yes, we got it this morning. 247-1242.
Okay. Have you reviewed it yet? Any comments?
No, I just met with him on Friday to talk about the details, and they will get them to me hopefully this week, is what I heard.
Okay.
Is the planning board doing a lot with them, or is that what, I mean, I saw them make a presentation, but
Yeah, I think it's a combination of the things the planning board wants and the comments that I had made for some of the drainage calcs.
okay.
Could I ask a question?
Sure.
Where is this? There's a sign on Boundary Street that I can't read as I zip on by on the right-hand side. So is that where the park is going to be? Or is it at a different location? I'm not quite sure the location.
Diane, do you remember the parking that we approved for work on the sewage treatment plant?
Way back in the woods there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been back there.
Okay, it's pretty much, it's right near there, Vinny, right? It's right kind of
Yeah, if you
across
look
from
at,
the plant itself.
I'm sorry, what?
It's kind of across the plant itself.
right, if you look and you see where the, how that duplex housing is, and it's just to the right of that. If you're looking from the street, looking at the duplex, it's about
Okay.
300 yards to the right.
Okay, all right. I'll go look.
Okay, okay, good.
Thank you.
Sure. We voted that one. Didn't we just vote that?
No.
No. Okay, we need a motion to continue 0 Boundary Street.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Diane. Dan Clark,
Yes.
Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Diane Gouldner,
Yes.
Todd Helwig,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Okay. Moving along. I would say we're not going to continue this one, the next one. This
Correct.
is the one that we already discussed, I believe, last month, Vinny, correct?
Yes, everything looked good, except we just had not received the DEP file number, which we did.
And that's all reflected in the minutes too. If you look at that, all that discussion was covered, and there were very few issues because they're pushing it back a bit. So,
Yes.
okay, so we can approve this now with the DEP file number in, unless anybody has any questions they want to revisit.
This is 405 Howard Street, right?
This is 405 Howard, yes.
Well, if nobody has any questions, I'd move to issue order of conditions.
You're
for 405.
recused. Oh,
No,
no, you're still in.
I tried, but I was declined.
Oh, okay. All right. That's right. That's right. You're farther up the road.
But you got points for the attempt, Todd. So that was
I did try.
Okay, a motion.
Did
To
we-
issue an order of conditions
Greg,
for
did we-
405 Howard.
Did we close the hearing last time? Or kept it
No.
open? I just wonder if we should just ask if there's public comment. I know there's only a few people on, but
Well, let's find out. Any public comment to 405 Howard Street? No public comments? Going once, twice, 3 times. We're good. Thanks for the reminder, Justin. Motion, we need a motion to close the hearing.
Yes, we do, and I'll make that motion.
Second.
Dan Clark,
Yes.
Justin Dufresne,
yes.
Diane Gouldner,
Yes.
Todd Helwig,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Vinny, there were no special conditions, right? I can recall.
The only condition was, I think Justin had the one about discharging the pool,
Right.
backwater or whatever it is, so, filter cleaning out to the front and away from the wetlands.
Yep. So we'll capture that in the order.
I can make that a condition, yes.
Nothing else?
No,
I will remake my motion to issue an order of conditions for 405 Howard Street.
Second,
Second.
Seconded by Dan. Roll call. Dan Clark,
yes.
Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Diane Goldner,
Yes,
Todd Helwig.
Yes.
I vote yes. Okay. No COCs, no violations. Informal discussion. We have a couple of items here. One is what Todd brought up, the mosquito control work on that. We want to kick that around for a little bit?
Sure. And I'll just set it up. So we just approved an order of conditions for Hopkins at 405 Howard Street. And you may remember last year, probably about a year ago, we rung them up on doing work inside of the buffer without a permit. They had to, they removed a couple trees, some invasives. We made them kind of chip the trees, put sort of back, do a little bit of plantings. And then about 2 weeks ago, I was somewhat disturbed to discover as I was leaving that Massachusetts mosquito control had shown up, and they basically destroyed the banks on both sides of the stream between the culvert and where it crosses under Howard Street, all without a permit. And it sort of makes the whole, I now know they're exempt, but it makes the whole thing sort of seem ridiculous about what we're doing here. If Mass Mosquito Control Project can just do this without any, in my view, apparent impact on mosquitoes. And I believe, and we might need to have some people look more into this, is that whether or not you want to be, your town can participate in the project, they have to opt in or opt out. It's probably a town meeting thing. But I know I'm annoyed every time I see them, but that's just me.
What happened to the stream bank? What did they do exactly?
They straighten it to make the water leave the wetland faster, I have to presume.
Oh, like channelized it?
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah, I did a little research, talked to the person over at Central Mass Mosquito Control Program, and Todd is correct. Under the Mass Wetlands Protection Act, there's an exemption for mosquito control projects that are authorized in a town that is a member of the mosquito control program, and Northborough is. And so the general procedure, which I was told, was that they do not notify the Conservation Commission whenever they're working in the town. They can, and I requested that they do notify us, or notify me, and in the future. And the situation is typically that it is an exempt project, and what they try to do is just keep the water flowing. So they generally try to do, to clear vegetation and brush that might be impacting the flow of water and blocking the flow of water. They will go out there and do handwork, and it turns out that this project was almost 600 feet worth of all handwork, where they were clearing brush and also were out there with the rakes. It's a narrow hoe kind of thing, rake structure machine or tool that they go out and kind of clear the path in the channel. They try not to impact the channel as much as possible. They like to leave the vegetation in the location where they cut it and trim it back, but they like to clear the pathway, is what I was told, so that the water can flow out and you don't get backwater and standing water where the mosquito will breed. They were requested to go out to this site, and were requested on multiple occasions in the past at this location. I think they started in 2003, and then 2012, and 2020, and then this most recent one. So they've been out there on multiple occasions at the request of one of the property owners out there, because they have concerns with backwater from the culvert getting into their yard and causing problems with their septic and the mosquito issues as well. But what I was told from the mosquito control was that if there's any project where they're going to go out with a machine and do mechanical clearing, they will notify the commission, but it's the handwork that is not typically notified. But we should get notice now when work is being done. The idea of changing changing whether Northborough is involved or committed to this or a part of the program. It is a town meeting. There's a line item in the budget, I believe, that it does a direct transfer from the, I think they call them the cherry sheets from the state. You get money funding from the state to the town, and there's a direct transfer from those cherry sheets to go to Central Mass Mosquito Control to pay for this. I think last year or the year before, or last fiscal year, I think it was $65,000 for the town to be involved. But that's a bigger issue than what we would talk about tonight.
So if I understand you correctly, the state pays the town for doing this work, or the state pays for it? For them
The state
doing it?
has funding that goes, the state funds the town for certain things.
Okay,
And then that can go straight to the town. But with this program actually takes it before it gets from the state to the town, it gets siphoned off to go over to the mosquito control program. So there
Okay.
is no, the town doesn't have to officially pay the mosquito control program. It just gets transferred through they call them the cherry sheets.
okay.
But that's an accounting thing I'm not real familiar with.
Are they still engaged in the business of spraying things?
Yes, there's spraying involved as well. I think I pulled up, I don't have it handy, but I pulled up the annual report from 2021. It's available on the Central Mass Mosquito Control Program. Their annual reports, and that indicated there were a certain number of acres and hundreds of lengths of, or hundreds of feet of channel that were improved. And there were areas of spraying as well.
Vinny, does the spraying also get taken out of that 65,000?
I believe so. I think it's all one lump sum.
Okay. I mean, it sounds to me like a program we want to be part of, I would think. I mean, mosquito control is pretty important.
I disagree, but I mean,
Okay.
First of all, I don't think it's actually, I'm not saying we necessarily do anything. And if then you can keep an eye on it, we get notice and we get more data, fine. And I suspect that the homeowner who may have ordered this is long since gone. And they just sort of came back. I can't imagine they would know of the current owners who've only been there for like a year, would know about enough about the program to be able to call up the project and say, I need you to rip up 600 feet of my neighbor's stream so that we can make pretend that there's less water, that this is going to reduce the mosquito impact. The whole thing just strikes me as bizarre. Nobody else can do this. I can't do this. You can't do this. We're gonna get upset with somebody because they put a pool, without getting a permit, and then there's this thing happens.
Well, certain things we can control, others that we can't.
This is one we can, because you can kick them out.
Well, at the town meeting votes it.
I know. I'm just kicking off the conversation. I'm
Okay,
just
all right. Well, that's
under my saddle about this. That's all.
I think some notification though would be, nice to have, even if it was just through Vinny and he could report to us at the meetings. Like, I don't know necessarily that they need to appear in front of us or whatever, but at least so we know what's going on and where it's happening, and you get a little bit of, get some eyes on it. Because I agree. I mean, just dig out a channel to release the water out of a wetland, to me, I mean, I have clients that try to permit that all across the state. They can't get that done. So
We would send a human being to jail for this.
Well, just to let you know, I let them know that this was one of the sites, but I also had a complaint about a different site in town. And it turns out that she volunteered that she said, or I asked them where else in town they were working. And she said this other site, And I said, oh, that's interesting, because that was next on my list of sites to be investigated, because I got a phone call and a walk through a couple of comments when I was walking another site, pointing a finger over to this specific site saying they were out there doing something in the wetlands. And it turns out that mosquito control was out there doing the same thing, hogging it out with a Maddox or whatever the tool is they use, but it was again all hand work. So I asked the coordinator to send me notice whenever they're going to be doing work in the town, other than DPW projects. If the DPW was asking for it, I said I don't think we need to review that, but on private property is a different story.
So we should be getting advance notice going forward.
I requested it, yes.
Well, you get it. It's not like you get it anyway for machine work. Handwork was not included, and that'll be included now, hopefully.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So Todd, that's where we are.
I'm willing to let it lie.
Okay. Forestry update.
All right, I've got a little progress. I've talked with our forester a couple of times, and she is working on getting a contract. We have, don't ask me his name because I just forgot it, but we have a new town administrator starting today. And our interim town administrator is staying on for a week or two to kind of do the transition. So I'm hoping to get this contract before the two of them, so that we can have this ready for approval from town council and ready for signature by the commission and the town administrator.
You think that'll happen before the end of the year, Vinny, or is that your target? Or
I want to get it done before the end of the year, because I would like to have things kind of moving forward. She needs to go out and do some review of, like we talked about the last time, the question of whether Mount Pisgah is an appropriate site to do something now, or just let it sit like we had planned, as well as looking at the specifics of the invasives and the just the current status or current condition of the trees out there.
and then we also want to start moving forward with some of the outreach.
Right. Yeah. And we definitely want to do outreach. She needs to get out in the field to get the facts first. And then the second step, and it's a big step, is to get the outreach out, the communication. I'm hoping to have the forester meet with the Trails Committee in their January meeting. And that's why I'm hoping to have this contract up and running in December.
I was going to ask you that, Vinny. So she didn't go to the November Trails Committee meeting?
No, she's not under contract yet, so she wouldn't be paid for anything yet.
Yep. Yep.
All right, there's a little bit of progress, Vinny. That's good.
Yes. Yes.
Good. I've got a hand up here. Jay Cahill.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
Great, thanks for taking my hand up. So I'm Jean Cahill, 1 Thayer Street. I organize Sustainable Northborough. We're a group of climate concerned citizens who meet on different issues, and we've been meeting to discuss the town's forestry plans for Edmund Hill Woods and Mount Pisgah. Very difficult stuff to navigate and to kind of see our way through. But what we've done is we've reviewed the scope of the RFP and the proposal for consulting that includes the timber sale arrangements by Wigmore. We've also participated in the State Environment and Energy Administration Forest as Climate Solutions Policy stakeholder meeting that happened November 13th. So we're learning about where the state is at with forestry plan. We understand that the state has initiated a moratorium on logging on all state lands. Don't know if the Concom knows about that. And this is preliminary to the state coming up with new guidelines for forestry that take climate into primary consideration. Those guidelines have not been drafted yet. There is no public comment version out. So they were just receiving comments on very vague goals. The state has a 2030 and 2050 climate goal to reach net zero greenhouse gas emissions, and land use is a big part of that. So the long-term target is for 40% of land to be under some kind of conservation use for carbon storage, mostly as forest. At present, no state lands have been set aside as they have in other states and as in national parks. But they are planning for lands that will remain unlogged without human management as part of the climate planning. As I said, this is all under development. More than 90% of our state's wood comes from out of state. It wasn't clear in the hearings what the apportionment was between durable wood products and wood that is burned, such as in the form of wood pellets coming from the south, and just wood burned for fire pits and for home use. What people are looking for, I would say across the board, both the pro and anti, from foresters as well as from people questioning the wisdom of some of the forestry planning, is that we're all looking for accountability and transparency on the use of public funding and of our public natural resources to achieve the intended mitigation goals of climate changing emissions. Our group has many, many concerns about the town planning. It is being kind of approved ahead of pending state policy, which is going to really change the way that forestry is conducted into the future. We are being working under the assumption that the past is the prognosticator of the future. But what we know is that climate is changing ways we cannot predict. Leominster, just say that, for instance. We had wildfire at Mount Pisgah due to extreme dry conditions that plagued Canada all summer. We don't know the direction, and therefore to have a proposal that says that we're going to adapt our forest in order for it to be resilient to climate change is completely preliminary. It is kind of an audacious statement, and it goes against everything that's going on the state level for that claim to be made and for us to be operating under that assumption. So what I would advise the Conservation Commission to consider doing is to postpone the signing of the contract until we have state guidelines in place and until we really know whether the tail is wagging the dog on this. I mean, apparently we need to remove invasive species. I am a certified invasive plant remover. I know that field. I know how expensive it is. It's incredibly laborious work. And I think the Trails Committee knows that as well, because they are really the stewards of our public land. And so because we don't even have any scope as to what any of these aims are going to cost. I saw some mention of a few $100s per acre for invasive removal. I can assure you that you could spend 4 person hours on a 25 by 25 foot plot of land, just cutting and daubing with a herbicide. So without that kind of information, I feel like we could chop the woods down trying to pay for the invasive removal. And we don't even know where we're starting with this, and we don't know where we're ending up. I haven't seen scope. I haven't seen deliverables. And I'm just very, very concerned about where we're starting and where we're going with this. So I will conclude my comments and just ask for your consideration of a delay on this contract. Thanks so much.
Thank you for your comments. Appreciate it. Dan Clark, have you heard anything about some of the state, what was addressed here, the change in focus for the state, or?
Oh yeah, no, I'm well aware of it. The DCR has been participating since it began in June. They're certainly looking at how forest management, essentially they're producing guidelines, or recommended guidelines, I should say, on how forest management can incorporate more climate considerations when they do management on their property. So there's nothing to say we can't incorporate some of those guidelines into whatever forest management approach we take. And quite frankly, we might already have a lot of those guidelines already incorporated in whatever we come up with. I don't agree on holding off. I think one of the important things we need to do is hire a profession. And this contract is the first step to do that. So having somebody on board that can help navigate some of these decisions, I think, is important for the town and for the Conservation Commission.
Okay, good. Thank you, Dan. Okay. I've got another hand up out here. Ginny Lemmer. I don't see a full name.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
Oh, yeah, it's Ginny Lemmerman. I'm on Howard Street. I'm on the Trails Committee, and I know Jean, the Northborough Sustainability Group. Just wanted to share, I recently retired, and this has been one of the topics I'm interested in. So I listened to the webinar that the state had in November, and they had people call in and speak for 3 minutes each. And there was like 2.5 hours of people speaking. It was really amazing. Really, really smart people with all kinds of of credentials, and it was very interesting. I was surprised I listened to it. But anyways, the issues are definitely being debated. That's moving forward. They are going to publish guidelines, but I would second Jean's idea, because I know someplace I read in the Northborough proposals is that we're going to, rely on guidelines from the state, and so they're not done yet. And so I would just, I know the Trails Committee feels very strongly that they're not educated enough. And if we just had maybe 6 months more, I could get smarter. Jean's already an environmental scientist. We have a lot of people in Northborough that we can learn from, but we aren't smart enough yet. But one thing that I did, someone on the trade, Janet was her name. She listened to those comments as well. And then talking to her, she listened to Mary Wigmore's comments, and that's the woman that we're hiring. And she told me it's at 1 hour and 4 minutes in. So I went this afternoon to listen to Mary's 3-minute talk. And then and she's been in the forestry business for 45 years. So that's a really long time. But she said, that they know all about, forestry, but nobody knows what's coming down the pike, and so she was a little bit too definitive about that. But also I went to her webpage, and she's a tree cutter. That's what her company does. And there was nothing on her resume about invasives at all. And that's the topic that the Trails Committee is interested in. And that you can see them off Winter Street when you go in that to Mount Edmonds. You can see them on the trees circle, the plants. But, I don't know what it takes to do invasives inside of a woods. Not at all of Edmonds. It has mud, in the inner part, it doesn't have invasives. But anyways, we're not that smart right now, but we're just feeling like this contract might be signed and Northborough might be committing to this specific consultant, and she's supposed to educate us, but she doesn't have the education that I think we want. So if we had just a little bit more time before we signed a contract, I think it'd be a great idea. I second that motion.
Okay, good. Thank you, Ginny.
Sure.
All right. So, Vinny, my comment is we keep on moving ahead. That's my feeling. I mean, if we want, the commission feels differently, we can talk about that. But I think we should keep on moving ahead, given the amount of delays we've already had. And we're talking transparency from day one. If we sign the contract with Wigmore, when that happens, if during that discussion period there's something that we don't care for, we just don't go beyond that.
Yes, we can put the brakes on and
So,
stop the work as it's moving, or
yeah.
That's part of the contract. I mean, we pay for what she delivers, and if we don't want any more, then we stop paying, and that's that.
Yep. Okay. So we have outs. We will have outs on that side. So it's good. Anybody else have comments from the commission? No.
I agree, Greg. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Diane.
I was going to say, I think that if they're as upset, those two people are as upset as they sound, that they ought to be willing to coordinate or have a meeting so that all the groups involved could sit and talk, even if it's a Zoom meeting, so that we're all on the same page, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they actually have been, they've been involved. They've both been at the, actually Ginny's been at the trails, and Jean has been vocal about what's going on. So it's been very helpful and been very good. And I think, I mean, their concern is that it's going to move along too fast. But my explanation and our reasoning from the commission is that we need to know from the professional what they recommend. And then we can say, yes, we want to do that, or no, we don't want to do that. That's the idea of having this draft plan pulled together. That's why the scope that was put together almost a year ago now has that it's going to be a draft. Then we're going to get comment. It's going to put it out for explanation to the public. And then we can make changes as the commission sees fit. And even before all that, where we've agreed, and the forester, Mary Wigmore, has agreed to attend the Trails Committee meeting and get the feedback even before she starts going out in the field and looking at what the conditions are out there. So I think it is pretty transparent, pretty open, but we don't know what we're going to get. And we understand and agree that climate change it's changing. It's been changing for years, and we don't know what's going to happen. So we want to try to be as prepared as possible.
Yeah, good. Oh, sorry, Dan, didn't mean to jump you in there.
No, I was just going to agree with you, Greg, to move forward and again, I think once having the professional forester on board, it will try and help answer some of these questions and concerns.
Yep. Okay. All right. Gene, I see your hand up. I don't want to have a 2.5 hour debate here tonight. I will bring you back in for 3 minutes and we'll go from there.
Great. I just wanted to ask about a phrase in the document that is the forestry services scope. And this is in section 3.1, and it says, the forester agrees that any and all reports prepared and conclusions reached hereunder are for the confidential information of the Conservation Commission, and that neither the forester nor any member of their personnel will disclose any of the same in whole or in part to any person whatsoever, or discuss the same with any person whatsoever other than the Conservation Commission or its authorized representative. And I have no idea, like, that is just indicative of many red flags that go up when I look through the documents and the proposal. And the fact that we kind of have an inherent conflict of interest in that we have a logger, a company whose sole qualifications are that they log and they price lumber and they cut it, that they are the ones telling us what we need to do, and scope. They're essentially writing the scope. We're not writing the scope. As far as I see, we don't have limits. We don't have estimates of time. We don't have deliverables scoped out. It's a time and materials contract. So I think this could just go really off the rails when someone's calling the shots who's also selling lumber and doing the services and billing us at $60 per person hour for that work. I just feel like the tail's wagging the dog on this. And with that, I'll conclude my cautionary remarks, and thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on. Let's talk about 432 Whitney Street briefly.
Oh,
You guys, sorry, I gotta jump.
Yeah.
But take care. Happy holidays, everyone. I'll see you
Same to
early
you.
January.
same to you.
Justin. Thank you.
See you later.
Justin, you can watch the film and see the rest of the discussion going
Oh,
on.
I will.
Yeah.
Later tonight.
Enjoy
Have a nice
your
dinner.
dinner.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks. Happy holidays. 432 Whitney Street. Latest and greatest on that one is the property apparently has been sold.
No,
No.
there's a certified purchase and sale, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
They are in agreement to sell the property at 432. The current property owner is SA Farms, has a signed agreement to sell, and under that, since the property is under Chapter 61A agricultural use, the town has a right of first refusal. And so they have to notify the town, which they did. They sent a certified mailing on December 5th, I think it was, or maybe December 7th. And the town received it, and the town, since they're selling the property and converting it out of the agricultural lands, I believe that the town has 180 days, 120 days to decide whether the town wants to acquire it for the agreed upon or certified price.
Okay. All right. Well, open space is involved. So the note to John. on that.
Yes, he put it on the agenda for the next meeting, and we're hoping to get a meeting on December 18th.
Okay. So that's the latest on 432 Whitney.
So 432 is the one where we just talked about the road.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we'll see what happens. A lot of money.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, I think it's 23.5 acres.
Okay. That's all I had here, I think, Vinny. Any updates, anybody in the commission? Anything going on and things you've seen? Todd's already come up with his, what are you doing in the wetlands for the week? That's good. That's fine. Okay with that one.
You guys just don't care. That's all.
Vinny, I did drive by Buena Vista.
Yes,
It looked pretty well wrapped up when I was there. And it was,
yeah, it's under control. I was out there. I was checking today after the storm. I wasn't sure how it was going to look,
yeah.
and it actually looked pretty good. I talked with the contractor, and actually I talked with the owner, and he implemented the recommendations that I made a couple of weeks ago. He's still working on the reporting that's required, but the site is tight, and I mean that's paperwork, so I'm not so worried about it. It's required, but I'd rather have the site not putting sediment out into the road or into the stream. So he's got the main work done, and we just have to work on getting the paperwork squared away.
But yeah, it was clean, pretty clean when I was there. They had the set up, the area outside the driveway. So.
Yes.
Okay.
He's doing a good job.
Anything you have, Vinny?
Nope. No, I hear that we're going to get a couple more filings, but I'm not exactly sure where or when. They said January, so
Okay.
they have until I think it's the 21st noontime for filing.
We have 3 continuations from tonight,
Yes.
and maybe anything new coming in.
Hey, Vinny, are they done with the water pipe on West Street? Is that done?
The water construction is, yes, because they resurfaced. I was out there today also. I think they're done with the resurfacing for this year. They're just doing the patch, and then they're going to let it sit for the winter, settle a little, and then fill the holes and repave in the springtime. So that project's not done, but it's done for a little while.
Gotcha. I was going to ask you about that. If that was the finished paving project, or they were doing more.
It is for now, I think. I'm pretty sure, because that's it's a little rough. My concern with them was to get the areas mulched along the sides, so the areas are stable, because they did a whole bunch of work right up to the sediment fence.
Right.
And so they need to stabilize that. And I talked to the person from Onyx Construction, I think it was last week, and he's going to take care of that.
Right.
And the work over while we're in that same area, the owners at 75 West Street, the new driveway, if you're looking at the property on the left side of the pond, that access that went in there, they got a little too close to the sediment, to the wetlands. They were allowed to go within 17 feet, and they went up to about 8 feet. So I've been out there a couple of times, and they've had to rip it out and restore it, and they're going to plant some shrubs in the springtime. It's too late in the season right now, they said. And they're going to be doing some work on the culvert discharge. They stone rip wrapped it all the way to the wetland edge, and they're going to either today, they might have done it later today after I was there, or tomorrow. They're going to pull that stone out and regrade it and make it and stabilize it so that it's not a big heavy stone riprap channel. It was an old stone line ditch, wetland area. It's very rocky out there, so they're going to just try to return it back to the pre-conditions.
That's up by where the finger was, right? The finger of the wetlands were kind of pushing up there.
That was the end of the finger. Yes. Yep.
All right. Anything else, Vinny?
Nope. No, give me longer. I'm sure I'll come up with something else, but no, I think that's mostly it.
All right. Nobody else has anything? Then if nobody has anything to bring up, we can move on. We already talked about January 8th, I think it is, right?
Yep.
And everybody at this point in time is good.
Yep.
Okay.
And I'm trying to get the only other outstanding one is I'm trying to get a contract going for treatment of Bartlett Pond for next year. I'm going to try to do a 5-year contract, but I'm not sure the town can do that. So I got to work with the town administrator on that one as well.
So you remember, I don't think you've not been, because we've been using CPC funds for that.
Yes. Yeah, there's money in the budget for it. I just can't get, last year I couldn't get the contract from Solitude to actually get the work done. I called them, I've got it documented. I've got like 17 times that I called them asking for the contract to get it processed, and it never happened. And this year I started back in October, and hopefully, well, it turns out now we're going to go for a little longer, and it's going to be over $50,000. So under the procurement laws in the state, we need to advertise that. So I need to advertise a whole nother contract to make it happen. But I did also find that there are 4 available contractors that can do the work. So we're actually going to get bids on it, I hope. And whoever is our low bidder or best bidder, it's actually a qualified bidder evaluation. So it's not just the lowest bid. So hopefully we'll get a good contractor and get the work done well.
Good little competition for Solitude, maybe.
I was surprised. There are a couple. Yes.
It could be a good thing.
I think so. Yeah.
All right. If nobody has anything else, we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Is there a
Second.
Second by Dan. Dan Clark,
Yes.
Diane Gouldner,
Yes.
Don Helwig,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Everybody have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas and a happy New Year.
Same to you,
You
all of
too.
you.
Great. Thank you very much. Yes. You too.
Enjoy the time off. Hope we get some time off with family and friends, and we will speak to you in 2024.
All right.
Sounds
Thank you.
good.
Good
Night.
night.
Thank you.